Hi everyone, Dustin with Artifact Podcast here, and I am here with April Matson.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Welcome out to Treasure Valley Comic Con.
Thank you.
Enjoying your about 1 hour here so far?
So far, yes. So far, I held Margot Kidder's muffin for her while she did an interview.
Not everybody can say that.
I caught up with Todd Bridges, who I met just a few months ago. So far, not being here so long, there's been a lot of action.
But you're also homegrown, correct? You're from Idaho originally?
No, I'm not actually.
Oh.
I'm California born and raised, but about 10 years ago, my family moved out here, my parents and my siblings, and about 3 years ago, I moved out here thinking it maybe was temporary, just to visit my family and have a break from LA, and I fell in love with it, and I stayed, and so now I am an Idahoan.
Excellent. Any specific city you're living in?
I live in Boise.
Okay. And how's, I guess, how does that compare to the California area?
Well, it's very different. I mean, it isn't. I mean, it's very different from LA, obviously. Getting around is a lot easier here. I always think about that every time I go back to LA and I have to just go to the grocery store and what a big deal it is just to drive and park and the whole thing. And I'm like, oh my God, it's cost me $37 just to get 2 blocks away. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
So that's very nice. But as a filmmaker and actor, I prefer doing that in Boise as well as opposed to LA. I've found. I love LA. It's amazing, and I won't say I'll never go back. But I've opened up an acting studio here, and I teach acting classes in Boise.
Awesome.
Jen actually is one of my students.
Yes.
And so as far as that goes, I like that aspect of it here. I feel like it's much easier, I guess, because it's more of a community to get help from the community to produce and create things. So.
Yeah, the local, at least this is the feeling I get. It seems like the local film community here is kind of it's grown, but it's also very close-knit. It seems like everybody just kind of knows everybody and they all work with each other versus like trying to be competitive with each other.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't seem nobody seems to really like try and bury one other person to make their film better than the other.
That's what I love about it, is there's so much collaboration going on, and anytime anybody's working on a project, everyone's like, what can I do? How can I help? I love that. I love that. And everyone's building each other up, and when something good happens for somebody, everybody celebrates. Everybody in the film community celebrates it because it's a win for all of us. So I love, because if we all work together in that way, I feel like we can make cooler stuff.
So I guess, that being said, what is some of the kind of the local projects you've worked on that you've kind of maybe got you started, and what are you working on now that you are really passionate about here locally?
Well, I've mostly so far done some films with my students in the I-48 competition the last year and a half or so. And then now I'm working on a short film that I co-wrote and I'm co-producing with my fiance now, Scott Grady, and it's called Sage Venom. And our script was a finalist at the Sun Valley One Potato competition.
Nice.
We didn't win, but we're making the film anyway, so we're in pre-production with a local production company. TikTok Media Productions is making that with us, so we're doing that now. And I'm also executive producing a feature, which will be my first feature that I'm working on out here, that one of my students wrote. His name is Matt Dominic, and it's an amazing script called Marbles, and we're in pre-production for that right now and hopefully shooting that next spring. So that'll be exciting to have a feature film filmed in Boise again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. So I guess how is your transition working in California? Obviously, the film industry is huge there. It's kind of basically what Hollywood's built around. Working there compared to working here, it's got to be night and day. But do you feel like there's more opportunity in California, or do you think that the opportunity is more untapped here?
I think it's just different, and it depends on which part you're involved in. As an actor, obviously in LA, it's easier to be auditioning regularly for commercials and TV shows and movies. And here, it's a lot of commuting to Salt Lake or putting yourself on tape. There's not quite as many big paying acting jobs in Boise yet. So it's definitely a little more scarce in that way. But as a filmmaker, I feel like there's so much more opportunity here because there's that local film community and really talented people with equipment that you can reach out to and collaborate with, and I didn't have that in LA, and I don't know if it's because it's not there on that independent level. I'm sure it is. But I think it's just when I'm in LA, I'm so focused on like getting another acting job that I don't think about being creative in other ways, you know, because you're just trying to like get the next job. It just becomes about this desperate sort of thing, like, oh, I'm not working right now, what am I going to do? I'm going to starve. Whereas here, it's like I'm living my life and I'm getting to work on the things that make me happy and make me come alive, and it's not about surviving, it's about being creative. So that difference, I think, is better here. And we're coming into a time where we don't really need agents in Hollywood and big studios anymore. You know, there's so many platforms for distribution now. You kind of can make anything anywhere and get it out there.
It's like YouTube, you know, open up their Red line, so you can do YouTube Red and get subscription service that way. Vimeo is another big platform that's just for self-production that you can always use.
And even the film festival circuit. You don't have to make a film in
Sun
LA.
Valley Film
you can submit,
Festivals.
all over and all over the country.
Is there? I know you mentioned the one festival, but have you gone to many film festivals? Is there one that really like you're like, yes, this is the film festival for me?
No, I haven't had that experience yet. I mean, I went to Sun Valley and I loved it. It was amazing. I don't have a lot to compare it to because I haven't been to a ton of film festivals. I've been to a few here and there that, you know, independent films that I was in years ago would be in, I would go. The Boise Film Festival is still really small. It's only, you know, been a couple of years, but I think it's growing. I think they're really enthusiastic about it growing, so I'm really excited to see where they go. And because the Boise film community is growing so much, I think that will reflect in the kind of stuff that'll be at the Boise Film Festival.
And I think one of the cool platforms that we have here in Boise is the Egyptian Theater.
Yeah.
And those guys always seem to be willing to like open their doors to pretty much any filmmaker that wants to try and make a name for themselves and really get their stuff at least seen by the public.
Yeah.
Is that something you worked with them before and trying to get some of your films out?
I have not. I did rent a theater from the Real Theater on State Street for one of the first films that we produced as a class called Swipe. And we wanted to submit it to festivals, so we didn't want to have like a public viewing of it, but we wanted our family and friends and cast and crew to be able to see it because so many people worked on it. So we rented out that theater and had everybody come and watch it there on the big screen. And we played it twice because we had the thing for 2 hours. It was a 20-minute film. And we gave awards out to everybody. So that was really fun. But I haven't worked with the Egyptian, but I know that they're great with stuff like that, and the Flicks is too. And the I-48 films. And I actually got proposed to in the Flicks.
Oh, nice.
And as part of the proposal was in the previews. So my fiance had like made a film. It was in the previews. And I was like, what is happening? Why are my parents on this preview? I'm about to watch this movie, this like regular movie at the Flicks. And then all of a sudden my fiance comes running in and gets down on one knee. So the Flicks, I'll always remember that.
I love the Flicks. Those guys, again, being local, they like to work with people. And that's a really cool idea. It's like, makes my proposal look like crap.
I know so many people were like, oh, man, to him, they're like, how's anyone going to top that?
Like,
it was
I'm done.
romantic. It was pretty romantic.
Well, very cool. That is awesome. So let me ask, are there any projects you're working on currently that people need to know about or want to know about?
Well, definitely people should keep an eye out for Sage Venom, which is the short film that I'm producing right now. And I'm also executive producing that feature called Marbles.
Yes.
And our website for that is marblesfilm.com. So that'll be exciting. We have Jean-Luc Bilodeau is now attached to it. He was in Kyle XY with me. He played my little brother, and then he's been on the ABC family sitcom Baby Daddy for the last 6 years. He was the lead in that. And so he just signed on to be in the lead in ours, so he's going to come out here and film that in the spring. and Joe Estevez is in it, and a good friend of mine, Jamie Williamson, that people recognize from Parks and Rec, and some other. She's on That School of Rock show on Nickelodeon, and Matt Dallas, who was Kyle and Kyle XY, he's going to be in it. And I think I got to talk to Margot, but I'm offering Margot Kidder a role in it too, so I'm hoping that she'll do a little something in it. So Marvel's film, keep an eye out for that. That's going to be. I'm really excited about making that film.
Very cool. I'll end this interview with one question. Since we're at a comic convention, I think this is a good question for everybody. A lot of the stuff that happens at conventions is based around like kind of like fandoms and what you like a lot. Is there something that you just kind of like nerd or geek out about, and just like when you see it, you're like, yes?
I probably would say I nerd out about, I don't know if this counts in like the comic book world or not, but Alice in Wonderland has kind of always been my thing. So I have my Alice in Wonderland pants on.
Oh, dude, those are awesome.
Yeah, and that is, Alice in Wonderland. There's the Cheshire Cat and there's Alice. And that's always been like since I was like 4 years old. Not the cartoon version, not that there's anything wrong with that one, but the one that was made for TV in 1984, 1985.
Was that with Christopher Elliott as the White Knight? Yeah? No?
Is he the White Knight in it?
I thought he was.
I'm not sure.
And then it had not Carol Burnett,
no,
but
it's
Carol
got
Channing.
Carol Channing, yes,
Yeah.
yes, Carol Channing, and Sammy Davis Jr. is in it, and Ringo Starr, and Scott Baio, and it's like really weird. But I was like, since I was 4 years old, watched that religiously, and so that's like my nerdy sort of. I feel like I am Alice. Like when I was in kindergarten, I told my teacher that my name was actually Alice, not April, and she called me that all week long. Like I have a creepy fan thing going on with Alice for sure. So I can relate to all of the fanatic people here.
That movie was legitimately probably the first time I was actually scared of what was known as the Jabberwocky.
Yeah.
Like you're like, that movie legitimately scares the crap out of you when you hear the Jabberwocky, because I don't even think you see it in the movie. It's just kind of like this overwhelming presence. Oh, you do?
Because there's two parts to it.
Like
so it's the end of the first part and then the beginning of the second part. It's scary. It's a big slimy looking dragon thing, and it's scary. But this is what's so profound about it. This is how deep I am about Alice.
Go for it.
Is she ends up saying, because she gets called out on it. I think it's the Cheshire Cat says it to her, or the owl? No, Mr. Owl says, that you brought that on. You brought the Jabberwocky on with your fears. And she realizes, oh my gosh, I guess I do have a lot of fears inside me. I created the monster with my fear. It's so profound, right? So I think about that in my life when I get afraid of things. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm creating a monster. I'm like imagining it, and now it's like not letting me do things, and I have like control over it. So I still find life lessons in Alice in Wonderland.
That's awesome. Yeah, Alice in Wonderland.
It's very profound.
One of those movies. Like, how do you like the newest Disney versions?
See, I haven't watched them, and it's only because
because
I'm so. I just, that particular version of it I know so well, I'm afraid, but I should watch the other ones.
Well, the Bonham
be
Carter's
open.
kind of cool as the Queen of Hearts.
I think there's and I love all the colorful costumes and all of the animatedness, if that's a word, about all that stuff so much, but there's something about the simplicity of an actual little girl, like Natalie Gregory was like 8 or 10 when she filmed, and she's such a good actress, and she's so innocently discovering all these different types of people and being affected by them, and I relate to it, like my inner child just like relates to it in a way. So
It's reasons like that why we're here.
Right. Okay. So
You could see the excitement. As soon as you start talking about something that somebody loves, it's like immediately.
Yeah. It's amazing how stories like really do shape our lives. Like that really has sort of crafted me in a sense into who I am. I still identify myself like through the lens of Alice in Wonderland.
That's
Is that
very
crazy?
Cool. No, do you have kids? Planning on having kids?
I don't have kids. I have a paraplegic pug and a one-eyed cat and a brand new kitten that I named Alice. See, that's how crazy I am.
I was going to say, if you have a daughter, I'm guessing that's got to be named
well,
number one on the
I think probably, maybe I'll have kids. I don't know. I don't really have any plans right now, but that was my sort of version of that, was getting that kitten and naming her Alice.
Yeah, that's cool. Awesome. Well, thanks. Welcome to the convention. Thanks for talking with us.
Sure.
We'll get all your links down in the description or wherever the heck we post this video.
Okay.
And we'll catch you on the floor, I guess.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks,
Sounds
guys.
good. Bye. Thank you.